Hello and welcome to episode 26 of What Makes This Song Special. As always, I will take a song that's special to me because it reminds me of a certain event or a certain time in my life. You can leave a comment as to why it might be special to you. I'll then talk about the song itself and then do a wee bit of a vocal coach reaction to the vocal or the vocalist's technique, which I won't spend too much time on, I promise. It was round about 1996, end of 96. This song reminds me of. We'll talk about the song later. And me and my friend Neil Fraser had been hanging about with a couple of girls that we'd kind of met from another school. We must have been about 14 or 15, and life was just about having fun, eating pizzas, doing all-nighters, playing computer games, playing football. An awesome age to be. Neil had arrived in our school, I think in fourth year at high school. He'd moved from another school, and we instantly became friends. There weren't many Scottish Juventus supporters who also loved listening to 80s rock bands, so we kind of hit it off immediately. I can't remember how it became a thing, but we ended up sleeping over at each other's houses every Friday night. It would be this thing we did. We would sort of alternate whose turn it was. I'd pack a change of clothes and a spare PlayStation controller in my school bag every Friday, or every second Friday, and Neil would do the same on the opposite week. And there was this one Friday, I think we'd stayed at Neil's on the Friday night, and we stayed up all night playing Pro Evolution Soccer, which is basically the football game to play before FIFA became kind of the thing that took over. And it was the Saturday afternoon. We were shattered from staying up all night playing computer games and eating pizza and talking rubbish. And Neil's mum and dad were out for the day, and these two girls came over to hang out with us at Neil's house. And we were sitting up in his room eating another takeaway pizza, listening to music, and generally just trying to show off to girls, which is what you do when you're 14, 15, and probably just what you do in general. And I can't remember exactly what I said, but I remember being completely shocked when one of the girls took something that I said to her as a complete insult, and she flew off the handle. She started screaming at me, and I was trying to explain that she'd completely taken what I said the wrong way, but of course Neil was standing behind her laughing his head off, and I couldn't keep a straight face. So all my words just seemed false because I was trying to be sincere and trying to explain to her that I didn't mean for her to take what I'd said the wrong way whilst laughing. I think we thought they would see that we were just messing around, but they never did, and they stormed off. And we stood in Neil's room, sort of half laughing, half shocked at the way that they'd gone in a bit of a huff over nothing, or what seemed to be nothing to us. And then there was this amazing moment that I'll never forget, because there was this huge bang outside the window, and we ran to Neil's sister's room, which was at the front of the house, to look out to see what it had been. And there was this biblical thunderstorm that had just come from nowhere, and there was rain bouncing off the streets. And even for Scotland standards, this was some incredible rainfall. So I remember standing there thinking about the girls walking home in that weather. They'd only maybe left 5-10 minutes before. And remember, this is before the days of mobile phones, and so they're like 14 years old. They didn't drive, and we sort of pictured them walking the 4 or 5 mile journey back up the road in that storm. We were kind of, there was a part of me that felt a wee bit sorry for them, but also I was annoyed at how they just walked off in a huff with us. So we were kind of laughing about it. And I said to Neil, I don't think we'll see them again. And he just burst out laughing and said, I wouldn't be so sure about that, as he held up this handbag with the girl's purse and keys in it. So the two of us were rolling around his sister's bedroom floor, crying with laughter. Neil goes through to his room and puts on U2, Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me, which is the song for today's episode. And we just put it up full blast, full volume, and just laughed and sang along to this song. And it was just this awesome moment. I don't know why it was so funny, but we found real humour in the fact that these two girls were going to get absolutely soaked and have to come back to get their bag. And so, of course, about 15 minutes later, we're at the window and we see these two drowned specimens walking down the street towards Neil's front door. And the doorbell rings, and they're just standing on the doorstep, completely soaked. I mean, like drenched, hair stuck to their faces, makeup running down their cheeks, and we're still trying not to laugh. We're trying to be nice, but trying not to laugh at the same time. And we let them come in and phone a taxi or a parent or somebody to come and pick them up. And we just sat in complete silence in Neil's living room because they didn't want to speak to us. And I remember just watching the rain fall off them drip by drip onto Neil's carpet as I just held my tongue for what seemed like an eternity. And when they left, we resumed, of course, our hysterical laughter. Cruel boys that we were. And we played this song on repeat whilst playing Pro Evolution Soccer for the rest of the afternoon, which was just a great era, you know, like being a young teenager. I think last week's episode was also about the kind of roughly the same age. It's just a great time. So, and those days were just so carefree. We sleep over on a Friday night was a little thing that we would look forward to during the week, a boring school week, and you would think, oh, it'll be Good Friday, we're going to have a good laugh, we'll get some pizzas in, and we'll tell funny stories, and we'll play computer games, and, you know, that's the kind of stuff that just is great to be alive for when you're a teenager. And yeah, it was good times. So that's just a wee daft story this week. Nothing very long, but essentially that's what the song reminds me of. It reminds me of that day, which was funny, and also just that time where we were just carefree and enjoying life. The song itself, Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me, is a long song title. It was written and released by Irish rock band U2, who I don't think really need much of an introduction from me. I think most people know who U2 are. And it was released as a single from the Batman Forever soundtrack album in June 1995. Became a number one single in 8 countries. It reached number 2 in the UK singles charts, number 16 in the US. And it received a Grammy Award nomination for Best Rock Performance and Best Rock Song. So it was a very successful song at the time. A bit like last week's song, I mean, it wasn't instantly a song that I loved, you know, from a sort of song point of view. Like, it wasn't like it blew me away musically or anything, but it just had a really great energy to it, and it reminds me, of course, of that day. So again, we talked a little bit about that before, but it doesn't always have to be that a song, you know, instantly you just fall in love with how great it is technically or anything like that. As a musician, I suppose that's what I'm looking for quite often when I hear a song. But sometimes it's a song that's just a song. It doesn't really do anything to me musically, but it obviously reminds you of a time, or it makes you feel a certain way. And that song is quite an upbeat, fun rock song. So yeah, that's my take on the song. But as a singer, Bono from U2 has a really distinctive and listenable voice. I would say, from a vocal coach point of view or perspective, his technique's a little bit sketchy. I hate saying that about another singer, but I don't think he would disagree. I don't think he ever saw himself as a great technical singer. He's got a really cool voice, and he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who really worked on his vocal technique or went to vocal coaches, and I might be completely wrong about that, but it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like a very natural voice, just kind of raw rock voice. More of a shouty style at points, which I think gives his voice a really passionate sound and sort of conveys some of the more political lyrics of the band really well. He's a really strange use of chest and head voice, unlike most singers who would use chest voice primarily on the lower notes, and then if they move up into the higher notes, they would then switch to head voice. Bono tends to really belt the higher notes in his chest voice and then chooses more of a kind of mix or head voice on some of the lower notes, which is a cool technique to use. Again, I think it's a subconscious thing that he just does. I don't think it's something that he practiced. Again, I might be wrong, but that's just my take on it. He also uses a lot of vocal fry, a lot of so he'll move into lines with a little bit of fry, that little bit of sort of, it's not technically a distortion, but it sounds kind of distorted and crackly. And he uses that a lot of the time on a sort of onset, on the way into a note, on the way into a phrase, which again gives him that kind of really anguished sound, which I think again, works really well to tell the story of the lyrics. He also quite often backs off the intensity on the glottal pressure and uses quite a light falsetto, breathy sound, which sometimes cracks, like sometimes, and I would say on purpose. You know, a lot of people, well, most singers, we try and get away from vocal cracks or vocal breaks. He kind of does it on the onset to notes at times, and again, it gives him that really passionate, charismatic sound that Bono's got. It's a really, like, it connects with the emotion of the lyric, the emotion of the song. So I think that's a really important thing to sort of take into consideration when I'm talking about, you know, is he a great singer? Has he got a great voice? And I think those are slightly different things. I think he's got a great voice. Is he a great singer? He's a good singer with some kind of strange vocal techniques, but yeah, I wouldn't say that I would listen to him and think, wow, what a polished voice, but certainly a really cool voice, really charismatic, and as I say, really connects with the lyric, which again, I think in contemporary music's maybe the most important thing. Sometimes you don't have to be a great singer, but if you connect with the words that you're singing and people believe that you mean it, then the song can sound really powerful, and I think he does that really well. So there's the story and my wee breakdown of a song and the singer this week. A short episode this week, just a quick silly story that I hope you enjoyed. And if you want to talk more about vocal coaching, anything like that, you can send me a little email or a comment down below, and I can tell you how to get in touch to do a Zoom lesson or a Skype lesson or even a face-to-face if you stay in Glasgow. Other than that, that's us for this week. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.